corner of 39th and Southeast Hawthorne in Portland, Oregon, and I've talked about this area many times in the past. And the reason I'm doing this video is I have come to the conclusion that there is a lot of weird energy around this building, and there's a lot of strange venues and people and energies, in particular emotions of sadness, anger, grief, despair. There is so much of that in this particular intersection. So when Portland was founded, and if some of you have additional information, please post in the comment section. The Masons that built Portland laid out the city in a certain way. And anyone that knows the map of Portland, streets like Foster, which go diagonal, streets like Sandy, this particular location where there's a concentration of energy. Here right behind me, we have people feeding. This is the Fred Meyer Deli. So people that are on food stamps, people that are, not working, that don't have a lot going on, that are just, passing back and forth. This is kind of like a zone for lost souls, if you will. You see a lot of vampire themes here in this particular part of Southeast that you don't see in the same way. You see other issues in parts of Portland and other unconscious behaviors, and there's other areas where things seem a little happier. But that's just because there's different forms of pleasure that people are involved in there. It's not necessarily genuine happiness. But on the topic of vampirism, here we have Chase across the street with the Nazi swastika, which very few people identify. Very few people can look at this system, can look at this symbol, and immediately recognize, well, where have I seen that before? So there's a history to this Masonic temple, and there are a lot of really strange energies here. The energy of apathy is off the charts. It is off the charts in this particular part of Portland. There are few other places that compare, because what makes it so much worse is the fact that this is an area, this is a part of Portland that is perceived to be conscious. This area is perceived to be the conscious expression of Portland. In fact, it's been inverted. This is not a very conscious part of Portland. This is a very greedy part of Portland where the have and have-nots can be seen incredibly distinctly, in a very distinct way and manner. Again, the crossing of this street, in particular this street, the energy is much more strange on that side, on the south side, than the north side. But you see a lot of unhappiness, a lot of people rushing, and you'll also notice if you stand here long enough, where there's a bus stop here, that people can't wait to get through this intersection. People can't wait. They're not smiling. They're rarely listening to music. People can't wait to get through this intersection. That's also why you don't see a whole lot of people with signs here. No one really stops. So for some reason, people feel compelled to keep moving. There's some sort of energy vampirism of an archonic nature taking place at this spot. So, people feel drawn to move to Portland every now and then, and some of them think they're healers. Some of them claim that God told them to move here, and that they're here to heal certain places. That may be true for some people. It's certainly not true of others. There's certainly some people that think they're gods now, or that God's telling them to go to certain places, and that may not necessarily be true. But for those that do believe that they are here to make a difference, I think that with our intentions, with our prayers, with our actions, with the energies that we send out into the world, places like this in Portland and many others need more love, and they need less division. Because we can clearly see the fragmentation of human consciousness today and the social effects of when we look at places like this, when we look at cities like Portland, Oregon. And especially people say, why Portland, Oregon? Because again, like this area, it has a persona of being more conscious than that which it actually is. That's why it's a perfect place to look at the nature of greed, selfishness, self-absorption, self-worship, vanity, Satanism, satanic leanings. This city is a hotbed of all of those things and so many more. As they say, ye shall know them by their symbols. And there are many symbols that you see in this town, whether it's something on the necklace or something that's branded in the logo. There is a obsession with the self and the material realm in this city that hides behind a plastic front of consciousness that comes from a front of spirituality that for them is actually coming from physical pleasure. The physical pleasure of actually living in Portland, Oregon and practicing tribalistic behaviors. So that's all for now. If you have any additional information on the ley lines of Portland, Portland's ancient past, the energy of Portland, what Masons have been trying to do since they arrived in this town, what brought them to town in the first place, on the fact that we have the Columbia River and the Willamette River, what initially brought the power centers to places like Portland, Oregon, and why has our city fallen to such a low level of consciousness to where there is less connection between each other unless it's a monetary exchange in some way, shape, or form. How could supposedly one of the most livable cities in the entire nation turn to one of the coldest cities in the entire nation? It's because of greed. It's because of the simple energy frequency of greed and the illusion of separation, the boxes that we live each and every day that we think we are what we are. Man, woman, black, white, Hispanic, Portlander, not Portlander, American, non-American, fully white, pale, olive, black. The illusions of separation are the things that keep us bonded to this type of a world.